As we're getting into these warmer months, I should probably try to finish some of these trucks so I can actually take them outside and play with them. Welcome back to the Scale Builders Guild. Thanks again for watching. It's episode 7, What's on the Bench? And it's been some time since we've done an episode of What's on the Bench. There's a lot of things that are on the bench. I don't know if you are like me, but it tends to get to the point where there are lots more unfinished projects than there are finished ones. And I think that's because sometimes my procrastination on a build gets the best of me, and sometimes the more fiddly details that are required for finishing a truck, the less likely I am to actually finish it. We're going to try to combat that this spring and get a lot of these things done and either outside and videoed or just out of the workshop entirely. First on the list, because I don't want to waste a lot of time, I did clean the workshop. I got rid of a ton of junk that was just kind of piling up. I got rid of all kinds of things. Axial plastic trees that still had like one part on them. Why am I keeping that? I cleaned up all of my paint supplies. I got rid of a ton of extra stickers that I was never going to use. Those are all gone. Dusted everything, cleaned the whole space, vacuumed, and now I'm ready for another season of building, which I think is really, really great. So that's the first thing. What's on the bench? Nothing, because it's clean. Secondly, the Unimog, which is sort of right there in the corner. That is a eBay body, all styrene, and it's CNC'd actually, so it's a really nice, rigid body. It's a big truck. I'm going to pull it down here so we can get a better look at it. This Unimog is a search and rescue replica from Europe, because that's where Unimogs are the most popular. This body is a really nice body, actually. It's very accurate, nicely detailed, lots of bits and pieces. It's got a huge 4-door cab at the front, and then this nice search and rescue style, or like fire engine style sort of bed and box here, which you can open and get into. There's nothing in there. This is all sitting on a TRX4 Sport and has been painted. It's silver now, which is nice. It kind of reminds me, actually. Kind of reminds me of my little Proline scratch built 24th scale doodad here. And this was for a Proline build off a number of years ago. And yeah, it's just something to have a bit of fun with. And this is sort of the larger scale version. So we're going to have some fun detailing that out in the next couple of weeks. And hopefully getting this one done and on the trails, because there isn't really much more to it. I have a couple of solutions for mounting the body to the chassis, tons of room for a battery, and in fact it works really well because it was built for the TRX4, so they've already got a channel down the center for keeping your original battery location, which is really nice. There are a lot of little detail parts that still need to be primed and painted, but this is a good first step. You'll also see that I've got the military beadlock style wheels from the Axial Unimog kit on here. I thought they looked awesome with this body, and these tires are just a perfect match. Nice width to this whole thing. It's a really big truck, which is cool. I like that. I did add some little extra bits of styrene on the sides of the body to help hide a lot of the electronics. Even though this body was made for the TRX4 Sport, they didn't do a great job of actually hiding a lot of the elements of the chassis. So I wanted to kind of try to clean that up a little bit. And once it's all detailed and painted, I think it's going to be a really nice model. And I'll put a link down to the eBay store where I got this body, because he has a bunch of different styles of Unimog. If you want just the cab, I think he has that as well. A bunch of like flatbed options, and yeah, it's a really nicely detailed body. And given the right prep, it will turn out looking kind of like this. And this Unimog sort of leads me into the next project that is sort of been on the bench for some time. And now that the weather is nice and I actually have better Wi-Fi throughout the whole house, this one will probably be a little bit easier to finish. And that, of course, is the TRX6 self-driving truck. And there hasn't been a lot of progress on this. Not much has changed. But now that the weather is nice, and like I said, I've got much better Wi-Fi outside, I think I'll be able to get my laptop out there and have this thing connect to it and still be able to maintain a signal. And that was the biggest stumbling block for me, was being able to actually have Wi-Fi far enough away that this would still function. So now that we've got that sorted, I think we can do some actual real training. And if you remember from the TRX-6 self-driving introduction video, which I will link right up here, there are a lot of things required to make this actually drive by itself. I've done some of the training digitally. I'd like to do some of the training actually outdoors on a loop, just so we can actually teach this thing how to drive. And once that's happened, I think we're ready to do a follow-up video. I know that this is a pretty daunting task, and it's certainly something that was way outside of my wheelhouse. So it's taken longer than I kind of hoped it would. But I really think that given the right set of parameters, I can make this work. I don't think it'll be the best driving experience ever. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to be very surprised and pleased as well. Do you think that this is capable of self-driving? Do you think that I've bitten off way more than I can chew? Put your comments down below. You know I love reading through your feedback, and I try to answer as many of them as I can. And if you're enjoying this video, hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you get updates anytime there's a new video from the Scale Builders Guild. On to the next build. As some of you may know, I own a full-size Wrangler Rubicon. It's a 2018 model. It's Stingray. It's my pride and joy. I love that Jeep more than anything, despite it not being a Toyota. It's always been sort of a goal of mine to have a miniature version of whatever truck I was driving at the time. And when I had a Jeep Compass, there was no reason to make that truck ever. And now that I've got a Wrangler again, it seemed like the perfect opportunity, as there are lots of great 3D printing options for the Wrangler Rubicon. I started this process over a year ago with a 3D file that wasn't really designed for 3D printing, and I did my best to make it printable, and I did print it. A lot of you have seen this body before. It's okay. It's a really excellent recreation of the truck, as it is a 3D model, so it is exactly accurate to the full-size Jeep JL. The only problem being that I sliced it myself, and I didn't slice it very well, and it wasn't really ever designed to be a printed model, so there is an awful lot of extra material here that would never really be used in a 3D printed version. I also had a lot of trouble with power failures, so I had to go in and slice out some new parts, and it was a mess. This file, while costing me an awful lot of money, will never really be perfect. And I've even given this file to a couple of my close friends who have a lot more experience, and they still struggled with it. So out with the old, in with the new. Now this 3D model was designed to be printed. I found this one on Cults 3D, which is a really great repository of a lot of really cool bodies. I'll be sure to put a link down below, because if you've got a home FDM style printer, there are endless options for new, good printable bodies. Now, you're looking at this and you're thinking, well, what could possibly be the problem? I printed it too small. The site, or the designer, when he designed this, he designed it to be 9.6th scale, so closer to 10th scale than anything else. The reason he did that was this is a perfect wheelbase match to an SCX-10 II of 12.3 inches, which is super. It's great if that's what you want, and most people do. But I work more in the 9th scale world. The Hiluxes, or that FJ80, or the Blazer for that matter, are all closer to 9th scale. And when I printed this one out, I didn't really pay too much attention to what scale it was at. And then I put it up against a Hilux, and I was like, oh no, there's something super wrong with my math here. This 9.6 scale body looks comically small up against a Hilux, and it should be much larger. So I'm in the process of reprinting the body at 9th scale. I just did some quick math, scaled everything up, and that should be ready within another few days, and then we'll be on to that actual build. So I'll either put it on SCX-10.3 and wait for the straight axle kit to come out, or put it on something else, maybe a raw builder's kit or something. But the plan is to do my truck perfectly, just 9th scale. Same color, same wheels and tires, which thankfully, thanks to AliExpress, I have a really great recreation of the actual wheel that goes on my Wrangler Rubicon. These are about as close as they can get. They do need to add the little tiny red Jeep logo in the space there, but this is also the tire I'm planning on running. This is the Proline BF Goodrich TA-KO2. These are going to look probably closer to 37s, and I've only got 33s right now, so maybe the RC four-wheel drive one will fit. We'll have to check that out. Anyway, this project is well on its way. I can't wait to have this body reprinted. I'm actually printing out the hood right now. It's an awful lot of printer time that I've wasted because I can't use either of these bodies really, but maybe I could pay it forward. If someone wants these as they sit right now, maybe you could do something with them. By all means, drop me a line, put a comment down below, and we'll figure something out. Instead of just giving away a couple of crappy 3D printed Jeep bodies, why don't we actually give something good away? With much thanks to RC Sparks for hopping into the chat on one of the live stream takeovers that Josh and I do, we're going to be giving away a Traxxas TRX4 Sport kit. I'm going to be building the kit, adding a bunch of upgrades, decking it out with great electronics, making it ready to run, and doing a killer paint job on that TRX4 Sport body, and then we're going to give it away. I'm just going to give it away. Like I don't even need it. I did want to help give back to the community that has been so generous to me. I thought it just made sense that we do some sort of giveaway this summer, so that will be coming very soon. There are a ton of upgrades I've got planned for it, so it's not going to be your typical run-of-the-mill, ready-to-run kit that's been assembled. There's going to be some very special parts put into that truck. We'll figure out a good way to give that truck away to somebody who really deserves it. So we'll figure out something and get that done sooner rather than later. So my thanks to RC Sparks for sending that very generous super chat. And we're going to make something very cool happen with that. And finally today on What's on the Bench, episode 7, I am getting started with the most complex build ever on the Scale Builders Guild YouTube channel. I am building a PC. I never thought I would say those words, to be totally honest with you. I've been a Mac guy for as long as I can remember. All of my work, all of my editing, all of my hobby stuff is all done on a Mac. And I really love the interface, I always have, but they are a bit hamstringed in the performance category. And you can see that on the live streams. Most of the live streams I'm getting at best 24, 23 frames per second, and it just doesn't look very good. And apparently, the good folks at EVGA are not just computer people, they're also RC enthusiasts. And they happen to be watching those live streams and reached out to tell me that they weren't very good. In terms of the quality, they were very kind to send me a bunch of parts to help me build my first PC. I don't even really know where to begin with this, to be honest. But there are a lot of great parts from EVGA, including a new graphics card, a power supply unit, a case to put everything in, and a keyboard, mouse, and some other great accessories, all from EVGA. Very cool that they sent that stuff to me, and I cannot thank them enough for the opportunity to really up the game on the live streams, and it's really going to be a big help. I have watched a ton of tutorials from very reputable sources, so I'm not going to bore you with the actual build of the computer because I don't think it's worth paying attention to me on a PC build. I'll leave that to the professionals. I'll share my PC parts picker list with you in the link down below in case you are interested in all of those parts. They don't mean a lot to me yet. I think we're going to take this pretty seriously. That computer is going to live in the workshop, and it's going to be a dedicated streaming computer. Not much actually has to change in the layout of this room. There is plenty of room for a PC on top of one of the side cupboards over here. The TV will just be replaced with a monitor, and then that's about it. But I did want to kind of share a little intro to that, and I'll follow up with an entire build and why I am using a PC and all of the software that I'll be using to give you an idea of how these live streams happen. And so with that, I think we've come to the end. Lots of stuff on the bench as usual. If you've got any ideas for future projects or suggestions on what should happen on current projects, by all means put your comments down below. I am really looking forward to getting this PC built. I think it's really going to improve the quality of the streams. Live streams are super fun, and it's a great way to share in a much more collaborative sense with you, the viewer. So I hope that you will stay tuned for that. That is coming very soon. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.